Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the ZahyoX S1416 solid carbide upcut spiral router bit. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description. And if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost anything extra. So let's get this out. So this is a solid carbide spiral upcut bit. So being an upcut bit, it's going to help pull chips out of the cut. Now it could get some tear out, but I'm guessing this is probably sharp enough to not tear out in a lot of materials. So the diameter on this is 1/4 inch, so you'll need a 1/4 inch collet, which is kind of a standard, that and 1/2 inch. The cutting length on here is 1 inch, so this would be good for 3 and 4/4 inch material. And this has 2 flutes on it. It has that nano coating on there. That's to keep it cleaner and keep it cooler. So I just wanted to take a look at this on my bench, but let's head to the shop and test this out. Okay, so I have the bit mounted up in my trim router here. So this is just a compact router, and I've added an auxiliary fence to it, and I just have it barely touching the fence, and it's I think about 5/16 inch deep. So I'm going to use this to cut a rabbet along the edge of this board. So since this is an upcut bit, it should be very effective at removing the chips. There is a possibility we'll get tear out at the top, but I'll make the cut and we'll see how it goes. Now I do want to cut into it, so I'm going to be cutting this direction. So I didn't have that lined up quite perfect with the edge, so I have a little bit of wood left. So I'll just run it back along and I'll hold it away from the fence just a hair, and that should trim that right off. So here we have our cut, and it's very, very smooth there. Now I do see a little bit of a seam there where I did the double cut, and that's due to my adjustment error. But that cut very nicely. Since it's an upcut bit, it did a very good job of clearing the chips. And since it's a spiral bit, we still got a very clean cut here. So if you have a little bit deeper grooves to cut, a spiral upcut can be a better option than a spiral down cut. The reason you might want to use a down cut, if you have some grain that is prone to tear out. Now this is poplar wood, I don't know that I mentioned that. But this cut's very nice and it's ready for finish right there. So this is a rabbet. A bit like this would also work great for cutting grooves. I essentially cut a groove here since I left the edge. So if you're doing drawer bottoms or something, you could cut a 1/4 inch groove there, and then you could use that to install your drawer bottoms. Let me just add a 1/4 inch groove here. I'm not going to go quite as deep this time. So I've adjusted my bit, so now I'll cut this. So there we have that groove. Super clean and smooth. Now that was with the grain. Let's do a cut across the grain and see how that goes. So you can see we did cut some tear out cutting across the grain, and that's where a spiral down cut would work better. That being said, a little bit of sandpaper and it will remove this. So it's a trade-off between spiral upcut and down cut. The spiral upcut's going to pull those chips out a little better and maybe cut a little faster at the risk of getting tear out. But you can see I can even just kind of scrape that off and it looks pretty good. So that's the ZahyoX 1/4 inch spiral upcut bit. If you need to cut 1/4 inch dados, grooves, and rabbets, a bit like this is a great option. I really like using something like a trim router for jobs like this. It's real easy to handle. Of course, this bit has the coating on it, which helps keep it cool and clean, which gives you cleaner cuts. And while upcut bits can give you a little tear out, this cut very smooth in my work here. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.